We got everything we need right here. Wine and burning chemistry. You and me alone. You and me alone. Inside of our embassy. Everything we need's right here. Make me sing along. Sing along. I never thought I'd ever be stuck by you. I never thought I'd ever be stuck by you. Oh, watch me dancing in the colors, lightning, blowing up a thunder, wash it over me. We got everything we need, right? Watch me dancing in the colors, lightning, blowing up a thunder, wash it over me. Yeah, we got everything we need right here. Moonlight on your naked skin, summer's blind us to giving. Where you wanna go, where you wanna go. Stars align onto your face, pretty sweet, your sour taste. Make me sing along, sing along. I never thought I'd ever be stuck by you. I never thought I'd ever be stuck by you. Oh, watch me dancing in the colors, lightning, blowing up a thunder, wash it over me. We got everything we need, right? Watch me dancing in the colors, lightning, blowing up a thunder, wash it over me. Yeah, we got everything we need right here. Sharing all your deepest dreams, wonder what they really mean, yeah. In the empty bottle lies all the answers. Break down all your memories, feel the things you wanna feel, yeah. In the empty bottle lies all the answers. Oh, watch me dancing in the colors, lightning, blowing up a thunder, wash it over me. We got everything we need, right? Watch me dancing in the colors, lightning, blowing up a thunder, wash it over me. Yeah, we got everything we need right here.
Hello, everyone. How is everyone today? Hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, please. We are finally powering towards 40,000 subscribers. I think it was definitely a good idea for me to jump back on doing shorts because I feel like a lot of you have found me, a lot of the new people who have come have found me through shorts. So welcome, glad to have you here. And hello to all our usuals. We have a big podcast today. I don't know how long this is even going to go on. This might be one of the 1 hour, 2 hour podcasts I do. Let's see how we go because I missed a few days and so much happened, but I actually wanted to give myself time to digest the last 2 days because, to be honest with you, it's been a lot to digest and it's giving me spiritual cramps and diarrhea. Just the utter ridiculousness of what I've seen the last 2 days. The tone deafness. It was to be expected, but also you always have that one speck of hope that maybe they'll have a little bit of self-awareness. But it didn't happen. So here we are. Here I am with spiritual cramps and diarrhea from 3 days of foolishness. All right. Thank you so much to Elaine Parker for being a member for 39 months. And we are glad to have you here as well, Elaine Parker. Glad to have you here. Thank you so much for your support. Um, just so y'all know, if you're new here, you can join a membership either through YouTube or through Buy Me a Coffee, whichever you prefer. So make sure to check out the links in the description box if you'd like to support the channel in that way. But just you being here is always good enough. But thank you, Elaine Parker, for being here for 39 months. Wow. Incredible. Oh, by the way, do I sound better, folks? I didn't realize this, but at some point, I don't even know when, the wind guard from my mic actually fell off. And that's why I've been sounding funny, but I don't even know for how long that has been going on, but none of you seems to have complained. But I'm hoping I actually sound better. I'm hoping I don't sound muffled or anything. All right, let's get to it because there's a lot to get to. So yeah, Trump's state visit. I mean, obviously he's the US president, so he had to come. Do I think that they had to roll out the red carpet for him the way that they did? Not only did they roll out the red carpet, they rolled out the golden carriages, they rolled out the Anyway, we're gonna get to it. you can hear I'm fed up already. We're gonna get to that, but let's get to a few other things first. As ever, marketing team is incredible. They clearly have somebody doing influencer outreach because some of the people who I've seen getting care packages from As Ever, there's some pretty big influencers. There's this one girl, Olivia something, who has like over 600,000 followers on TikTok. So As Ever clearly has a great marketing team. The email marketing is on point. The influencer marketing is on point. The Instagram is on point. They've been, make sure that you're tagging As Ever and Meghan if you're posting anything about their products, because they basically repost almost every single day now. So that's fantastic to see, and some lovely new images of Meghan from the As Ever account. Also, the CEO of Netflix did an interview with Emma Grede, who also interviewed Meghan just a few weeks ago, and he 100% have Harry and Meghan's backs. He spoke very highly of them. He spoke about how incredibly influential Meghan is. And he has said in the past, you know, Netflix makes shows not for the critics, but for the fans. And so Netflix is not bothered about any of the noise. They never have been. If anything, they probably embrace the noise, because the noise brings clicks, views, and customers. He said one thing we learned earlier with Meghan was she has remarkable influence. When we did the documentary with her and Harry, when we ran the trailer announcing it, hundreds of people broke down every frame of the trailer announcing it. He added the $20 shoes that she got from the village that was making these shoes sold out all over the world. The 1,500 blanket that was on the chair sold out all over the world. I mean, the furniture from the Oprah interview sold out. Who could forget that? The website in the UK that hosts the British Association of Chicken Rehoming or whatever, their website broke down. Meghan has people out here buying $1,500 blankets, garden furniture, and taking in orphan chickens. That's a different level of influence. The Netflix chief further said she was incredible. She has an incredible power and influence. That for me is like, how can we enable this to be more of a holistic thing? So make sure you go and watch the full interview. Emma's been having some fantastic people on her podcast. Definitely worth listening to. All right, next thing. Give us a sec, folks. So much to get through. Oh, today is also the premiere of the Happiest Story on Earth, 70 Years of Disney, that I believe will be on ABC News. Now, I don't have ABC News here, and I don't have any type of streaming service that I think I could watch that on, if anybody would like to recommend anything, but I'm sure there's some squaddy who will record the whole thing and upload it onto Twitter at some point anyway. So I'll have my review for that for you tomorrow, well, today UK time, because it still needs to air in the US. So check back tomorrow for that, and please do make sure to go and watch it. It's on ABC News today in the US. All right. Next thing, Harry made a wish come true. I almost missed this actually. So this is when he stopped over in the UK with the Make-A-Wish UK Foundation. Calvin, aged 19, lives with VATRL syndrome, a complex genetic condition. This has meant since birth, Calvin's journey has been a tough and painful experience involving several operations, something no child should have to go through. When Calvin and his family met our wishmakers to choose his wish, they told us all about his interest from music and drama to TV shows. Calvin loves watching a range of content. When he was younger, Calvin also had the opportunity to meet Her Majesty the Queen. This experience made him feel so special, so you use this as an inspiration and combined with his interest when picking his wish. We recently granted his wish at the Well Child Award 2025 so he could meet and chat with Prince Harry. Bless him. And bless Prince Harry for making his wish come true. After the wish, his mum told us, for me, it was such a magical moment for my son, looking at him with Prince Harry and it feeling so relaxed, making jokes and seeing Calvin so engaged warmed my heart. I have been smiling ever since the wish. Thank you so much, Make-A-Wish, for making this happen. We never thought it would be possible for Calvin to meet Prince Harry. Now I really do believe that wishes can come true. That is amazing. And how wonderful of Harry to do that. You know, when you have the power to just make someone's day like this just with your presence, I think that's such a beautiful thing. But I also think you need to be somebody who walks through the world with authenticity and just general goodness. And I think that's what people feel with Harry, as they felt with his mother. And he continues his mother's work. Now let's get on to the main story of the week. This foolishness. So before the orange even got to the UK, people were making it very clear that he was not welcome. And shout out to everybody who showed up for protests to let Trump know that he was not welcome. And also at those protests, making it very clear and known that we take issue with these powerful group of people getting to do whatever they want and engage in all this lavishness while everyone else is out here fighting for scraps. And I do hold, and we should hold, politicians and big corporations and the people that run them to a different standard, because they dictate so much of the way that we live, and the decisions that they make dictate so much of how we live. And that's just what made the last few days so out of touch. How can you have a state banquet like this? I have to say, every year that goes by since Harry and Meghan left, it just becomes more and more obvious that they dodged a bullet. They dodged a bullet and they dodged embarrassment, because even as their biggest fan, if they were still within the royal fold and were engaging in this in the backdrop of everything that's going on, it wouldn't be defensible to me. Nothing about that would be defensible, whether or not Harry was born into this institution or not. It's a very different matter now that they're private citizens making their own money, not responsible for any decisions that affect the average everyday person. But for these people to have sat in this room, this velvet covered, gold plated room, and it wasn't just the royals in this room. I'm going to get into who else was there. It was so obviously just one big group of powerful people letting it be known that we run things and there's not much you can do about it. Literal revolutions were started because of displays of wealth like this. So before Trump even came, people were letting it be known he was not welcome. Now, there was this hilarious incident where they projected images and video of Trump and Epstein onto the Windsor Castle. By the way, the reason it was in Windsor Castle, this whole state visit, was because there are works going on, refurbishments in Buckingham Palace. That's why it was at Windsor Castle. And 4 men were arrested for this. I believe the official charge was, I think it was malicious communications. They have been released on bail. And it's a 60-year-old man from East Sussex, a 37-year-old man from Kent, a 36-year-old from London, and a 50-year-old also from London, who are detained. And they are on bail until the 12th of December while they are investigated for possible offences, including malicious communications and a public nuisance. Nobody in the public thought that this was a nuisance. You know what we did think is a nuisance? PDF files, political criminals. That's what we think is a nuisance. Like, this just shows you the hypocrisy. How can you be arrested for something like this? But how long did it take for them to arrest Epstein? And Trump is now president. I thought this was hilarious. I thought it was speaking for many people. And this is just a waste of police time and resources that they would get arrested. And I hope they don't get charged, because if they do get charged, I think there should be a fundraiser for them. What an absolute waste of police time and money. Thank you so much, Elaine Parker, for the super sticker. You are much appreciated. Thank you, Kat Harlem, for being a member for 38 months. You are late, but here, you are never late. Just rewind from the beginning and you can fast forward like very fast. Use the speed button. Duchess and the Orange. Yeah, that's what I like to call him. I try to avoid saying his name. If I say his name, it's mostly by accident. I prefer the Orange. And that orange is literally rotting. Is Trump ill? Sorry, is the Orange... I did it again. Is the Orange ill, or are they poisoning him? Because I know he's old, but he's not old to be looking the way that he looks. Like, I just thought he looked so ill. They're going too much with the bronzer. There's something funny going on with his hands. It's like they just had him pumped up on drugs or something. It was weird. Anyway, here's more of the scenes of the protests. There have been protests, cartoons in the newspapers. Yeah, we really gave it to him in the UK. By the way, there's a lot of suppression going on social media. So even in the United States, there's certain things that they're not allowing to come up on the feed. So people are having to be very clever and finding ways to go around that. So for example, if you go to TikTok, you should type in LA Music Festival. And that's actually a code word for the protests that have been going on against ICE in LA. I learned this recently because they haven't been showing any of this on the news. And the protests have been massive. So massive. They're not showing it on the news at all. So a lot of the stuff that's going on, you're not seeing it, and people are having to use code words. So yeah, search like LA Music Festival on TikTok or on Instagram, and you'll see all the images of the protests coming up. I don't know any of the other code words, but that's just one of the ones that I know, and that's what they're using for hashtags to like stop the algorithm from suppressing their images and their protests. Now, another interesting thing that happened. Actually, I have to rewind a bit. Actually, no, we'll stay on the Trump state visit, and then we'll get onto the other thing that I wanted to talk about. Well, at least this time he didn't awkwardly walk in front of Charles. So they had the monitor, was it called the monitoring of the guards or the checking of the guards? Now, I have to say, because there was a bit of misinformation online, the visiting person is meant to walk in front of the royal when checking the guards. With Trump last time though, with the Queen, that was just the most embarrassing moment because they didn't even know, was she on his left, was she on his right? We managed to avoid such embarrassment this time. I do feel that them doing all of this pomp and pageantry, it was just to appease his ego. I think that they clearly had some back-end deals going on, as they do with these state visits, and part of the deal for the United Kingdom to get something decent from it was that they had to give him this big old show. This big old show with carriages and guards and all of this. And even people who are usually on side with the royals let it be known that this was ridiculous. The Windsors debased themselves for Donald Trump's state visit. This is from Celebitchy, but the actual article that this is referring to is an article from the Daily Beast. So let's have a read of this. Bad news. I think they've pumped so many drugs into Donald Trump. He now looks somewhat healthier than King Charles. I would feel bad about saying that, except I remember Charles Courtiers running around briefing the press about Joe Biden's age several years ago. Charles was pissed that President Biden didn't go to the coronation. Remember that? So Charles made it all about Biden's age and health. Now Charles has been receiving cancer treatments for 19 months, and his mealy parlor makes Trump look hale and hearty. Well, do you know what? I actually forgot that Biden didn't go to the coronation, and maybe that's another reason why they gave Trump so much pomp and pageantry. So petty. But honestly, why would an American president go to a British king's coronation? Why? Of course, there are plenty of other parts to the state visit which are pretty disgusting. Trump is being feted and celebrated like a conquering king. He's a pathetic authoritarian, hell-bent on destroying NATO, the European Union, and post-war societal, cultural, and economic advancements. I don't exactly blame Charles and the royals for this. This was decided by Downing Street and Keir Starmer's government to roll out the red carpet this way for Trump. I actually think it was both. I think it was both the royals and the government together, working in tangent. But that didn't stop Tom Sykes from going off on his royal Substack. He said the UK shamelessly stood itself at the feet of Donald Trump on Wednesday morning, throwing a welcome party for his state visit at Windsor, so lavish it looked less like diplomacy and more like a ritual of self-humiliation. No foreign leader has ever been greeted with this degree of ceremonial excess. The choreography was on the scale of Queen Elizabeth II's funeral, yet this was not grief but a spectacle. Staged for a man many Britons see as a wrecking ball aimed at the very post-war settlement the country once helped design. By the way, I'm not going to play a clip of it here because I can't find one that might not get my channel copyrighted. But the speech that Trump gave at the state dinner was ridiculous. I actually think that his people were trolling him. To those watching with clear eyes, it was nauseating. There was at least a grim honesty in the absurdity. Trump demands spectacle, and Britain, desperate to please, delivers. He wants to be king, Britain obliges. But in obliging, the UK reveals something darker about itself, that to keep America close, it will debase itself utterly, strip its traditions for parts, and hire out its monarchy like an S-worker. Wow, Tom Sykes really went there. Wow. See, I hadn't read this before, so I didn't know how deep he got. Worker to soothe the vanity of a man who insists on being treated as sovereign. Royal ceremony is theatre, but this was a theatre that revealed far more than a sovereign nation should about its craven need to please a foreign leader who has done nothing to help Britain and plenty to harm it. Kaiser goes on to say, yeah, I agree with all that. It's pathetic on both sides. Trump is a global embarrassment, and America will likely never recover from any of this. But I don't hold it against the UK for doing what they can to stay on Trump's good side. In fact, I think Starmer and many other European leaders have figured out their own ways to manipulate Trump or work around him. This is part of how they do that. The play is to his vanity. They treat him like the most delicate and superficial strong man ever, because that's exactly what he is. Indeed. Indeed. Couldn't have said it any better. And the reaction on social was just people were dragging. People were absolutely dragging. Your energy bills have gone up, your food bills are continuing to rise, your council tax was set up, but services go down. Yet in the last few days, we've seen golden carriages travel through London and obscene inherited wealth like this monstrosity. But it all really went down and really got people revved up at the state dinner. Now, they put Kate right next to Trump on his right side. Now, at the past two state dinners, the one for South Korea's leader and the one for French President Macron, people were joking about the fact that Kate got hidden behind the candles and the flowers. Now, I haven't watched every single royal state dinner for the last decade to know whether or not this actually means something, and I may have to go back through the archives to check, but some people feel that this means something. Some people were even saying this is Camilla's dirty work, hide Kate behind the candelabra. I don't know. I do know that this is the royal institution, and everything they do has some kind of meaning, usually underhanded. But you make of it what you will. Once again, she was hidden on both angles, by the way, the camera from the left and the camera from on the right, by an object. So you couldn't really see her when Trump was giving his speech. I don't know if this has anything to do with royal protocol, but I also do find it quite interesting that she was sitting on right beside Trump while Charles was sitting on his left, because my first thought would be that William would be on Trump's right, but Trump does like to be, surrounded by women. I think he feels that it boosts his ego. So I don't know if that's the reason why they put Kate next to him, but very embarrassing for her, because this is the same guy that once blamed her for the fact that pervy French photographers took nude pictures of her on a beach. I think I can actually, do I have it? Yes. This was Trump tweeting in, when was this? Maybe 2012, sometime back. Who wouldn't take Kate's pictures and make lots of money if she does nude sunbathing? Come on, Kate. Just disgusting. Like, no one deserves to have nude images of them that they did not consent to being blasted all over the world, even if they're a member of the royal family. Meghan would never, and Harry would never allow this. This is nonsense. Imagine having to sit next to a man Who said that about you? And grin away. Oh dear. Do you remember when Kate said that doing the walkabout with Meghan was the hardest thing that she ever had to do? I'm wondering what was harder. Was that harder or was this? Was it harder to do the walkabout with Meghan or was this harder, having to grin away next to Trump? I think that these pictures are going to come back to haunt her because this doesn't look good at all. Also, who else was at this dinner? Well, lots of powerful people. CEO of BlackRock. If you don't know about BlackRock and Vanguard, go find out. That's one hell of a rabbit hole. But the CEO of BlackRock was there. The CEO of OpenAI AI was there. Tim Cook was there. Many powerful figures, and the media granddad of doom, Rupert Murdoch. Now remember, Harry met with Charles just days before. Harry won his court case against Murdoch's NGN, what was it, 6 or 7 months ago? Not too long ago? Got a payout and an apology. And here Murdoch is at the state banquet. Why does he need to be there? It's dangerous that he's there because it shows you that there's no accountability towards powerful media figures. I find it terrifying that he's there because it still shows that he has these claws very much deeply in a lot of these people's business. I actually had a slide showing what Harry said after he won his, well, this was part of the court case. This is from court documents. And he talked about the relationship between the press and the palace. So he says, with hindsight, I now understand why staff at Clarence House were being so unhelpful and were seemingly blocking our every move, as they had a specific long-term strategy to keep the media, including NGN, on side in order to smooth the way for my stepmother and father to be accepted by the British public as Queen Consort and King when the time came, and anything that might upset the apple cart in this regard, including the suggestion of resolution of our phone hacking claims, was to be avoided at all costs. This was all because of the secret agreement which had been reached between NGN and the institution that there would be no actions until the end of the litigation. Indeed, when I did actually issue my hacking claims against both MGN and NGN in October of 2019, I was summoned to Buckingham Palace and specifically told to drop the legal actions because they have an effect on all the family. This was a direct request, or rather demand, from my father, Edward Young, and my father's private secretary, Clive Alderton. Harry can never trust these people. I sincerely believe that Harry wants to be the bigger person. And that's why he said in his Guardian interview, spending time with his dad was important over the next year. It's very obvious that Charles is ill. We don't know how long he has. And as time goes on, it to me, it seems like maybe it's not as long as we think it is, especially if Harry thinks it's extra important for him to spend time, with his father. But unfortunately, I think that Charles has made his bed and he has to sleep in it. And in that bed is also Rupert Murdoch and other members of the tabloid press. Rupert Murdoch and Jonathan Rothermere and Victoria Newton and all the rest of them. The other thing that makes it so scary that Rupert Murdoch was there was that there is litigation going on, a lawsuit over a Wall Street Journal article about his friendship with Jeffrey Epstein. Well, I think it's his friendship with Jeffrey Epstein, or there's another guy who's involved with the Wall Street Journal. I forget his name. One of Murdoch's lackeys, who was also involved in covering up the phone hacking scandal in the UK. So I wouldn't be surprised if lawsuits start disappearing. I mean, now in the US, they're silencing and canceling comedians. So goodness knows what else is going to get shoved under the carpet. Okay. I have to say thank you to Kefi G for being a member for 42 months. Wow. Do you know what? I need to actually go through my back end. I haven't looked at it for a while. I need to see who's a member, who's been a member for the longest, because 42 months, I think that might actually be the record. Does anybody know if they were the first member? YouTube analytics isn't always clear about these things. So I need to go back and have a good look. Listen, if you've ever been a member, if you've ever donated, thank you very much. But I'm genuinely curious to know, like, who's been here the longest. That's 42 months. Genuinely shocked whenever I see stuff like that. You've been around for 3.5 years, Kathy G. I might have to name my firstborn Kathy G. Anya, thank you so much for the super sticker. Much appreciated. Appreciate all of you. Right, let's get through some comments before we get on to the next thing. Susie, you said, I can't believe the photo of the orange felon picking his nose is just feet away from the king. Listen, the orange felon picking his nose is so low down the list of just horrendous things that people in these circles do. I can actually tolerate the orange felon picking his nose. It's like the least of horrendous things that we know about these people. Our Florida garden. I wouldn't be sitting in the same room with these fools, neither would I. More of us than there are of them. We just need to remember that. Susie, you said, thank you, Britain, for those awesome anti-Trump signs and costumes. Makes us Americans feel a little better. No problem at all. There was also another protest in central London, which was really big, actually. They had these giant, like, balloon balls with J.D. Vance's face, like, blown up on them. And they were, like, bouncing them all over the place. It was hilarious. Let's have a look. Janita, you said, no one of importance wanted to sit next to Trump. That's why Kate was sitting there. I mean, you would think they would put William on the other side, right? It's a setup. Thank you to, who's this? Thank you, Kevon Sims. You said, why does the media always talk about Kate in such a flirty way when she meets his men? Like they did with Macron, Trump, and the tennis player guy. I don't know. Maybe they're just trying to stir the pot, but it is rather embarrassing. All right, next thing, and thank you so much for that super chat. Much appreciated. Next thing. Oh, there's so much to get through. I'm even confused in my own slides. Ah, yes, Palace briefing. Let's get on to this. It never looks good for the palace to brief at any time, but more so when a sitting president comes to visit. Forever proving Harry and Meghan right, these people. So this was leaked from the palace, how the King's chef clashed with Secret Service in furious behind-the-scenes row at Trump's state dinner. Sources told the Daily Mail that several members of the Secret Service team guarding the president went into the kitchen to oversee preparation by the royal chefs and even tasting the food, which some of them felt was disruptive. The guests were blissfully unaware, but the atmosphere in the kitchen quickly became tense as tempers began to fray between kitchen staff and visiting American security. Can you imagine? Sounds like an episode of The Simpsons. The spectacular dinner saw Trump and his wife Melania, hosted by Charles, William, and Kate, surrounded by dozens of high-flying business chiefs and diplomats from both sides of the Atlantic. But as the 160 VIP guests enjoyed their three-course meal in refined surroundings of Windsor Castle, tensions below stairs were soon boiling over. The lavish Windsor banquet, held as the centerpiece of President Trump's state visit to Britain, was hit by furious behind-the-scenes row. Over what? Caviar? What did they even serve at this thing that would cause so much uproar? Just eat your caviar and whatever it is they fed you and go home. I mean, did the Secret Service... do you know what? I guess the Secret Service are just so paranoid. That's how paranoid they are. There's no way that the UK would allow for anything security-wise to happen to a US president coming to visit, let alone him getting poisoned. Like, I know there was probably somebody in that kitchen that wanted to try, but that wouldn't be happening. They wouldn't allow that to happen. So why cause a ruckus? And this is actually the first time I've heard of anything like this happening at a state dinner. I guess it shows just how paranoid they are. And then also there was leaking regarding Trump and Melania that apparently, they requested separate rooms. I mean, I don't think Trump and Melania stay in the same house. And I think it's been that way for a while. She seems to split her time mostly between Mar-a-Lago and New York, I think. And he's turning the White House into a gold-gilded mess. I think they've been separated for some time. She barely even appears with him. Not as much as she did during his first presidency. I think that marriage has been over, and it's all just for the cameras. Much like another royal couple. Now, we know that the palace courtiers have been copying everything from Harry and Meghan's style. And, things like this, pictures like this, behind the scenes with William and Kate and the royals, you never saw things like this before Harry and Meghan came into the picture. I'm sorry. And I know it seems like such a petty thing to have to point out, but it just shows such a lack of originality from people within the palace. Whether it's, doing things like the social media, the reels, the style of the reels, the style of the clothes, everything. And we now know that at least one of Kate's staff, Natasha Archer, was following literally everybody in Meghan's camp, including Meghan, I think, before she unfollowed all of them. So all of those accusations of Kate, copying Meghan's outfits, copying Meghan's style of business, copying Meghan's ideas. We weren't paranoid. We were not paranoid at all. What do we think of Kate's dress, by the way? I actually think it's the best she's looked for a while. However, well, the style of the dress anyway. However, And I'm always very careful when it comes to things like this, even with people who I don't like, and no, I don't like Kate, but I'm always very careful when talking about, women's bodies and body image, because I don't like to reinforce certain narratives. But all I'm going to say is I find it very uncomfortable that the tabloids um, um, are refusing to point out the obvious that everybody can see. And from what we know about the palace, the courtiers and the people in the palace, well, they're not the most helpful when it comes to things like mental health. And that can also have an effect on one's physical health. And this institution would rather let people waste away, let the women in this institution waste away, other than fixing and addressing the problem. I do believe that whatever happened to Kate over the last year and a half, some of it isn't just to do with cancer. I think this institution is wasting away at her. I think it's also chipping away at William, and other people are noticing that too. This from the Daily Fail. What's eating William? Or, the use of the word eating. That's an interesting word. But it's a good question. What is eating at William? Why is William out here constantly swaying like a flag? And this one. Yeah, nobody in this institution is okay. No one is okay. And how could they be? How could they be when you're surrounded with people like Prince Andrew? Speaking of which, remember I said in my last podcast that William was not going to be happy about the fact that Andrew was trying to use this funeral as an opportunity to look chummy with William. This was I think it was the Duchess of Kent's funeral. And Andrew, front and center, using it as an opportunity to look chummy outside the church. Now, did I not say in my last podcast that you would start to get briefings by William's camp, that they would not like this? And here we are, positioning William as a victim as we predicted, because it's so predictable now with the briefing what they're going to say next. Smug-looking Prince Andrew and uncomfortable William had a very frosty exchange after the Duchess of Kent's funeral. Very frosty exchange. So they took that one picture of William looking a bit confused and Andrew looking a bit confused, but Andrew was actually laughing and William was trying not to laugh. Moment Andrew was shunned by the royals. An awkward exchange with William, an inappropriate grin and a joke at the funeral. The frosty atmosphere that says it all. I mean, shunned by the royals, but he sat at the front of the church. If you want to make the excuse and say, well, he had to come because it's a family funeral, they could have sat him even in the middle, if not at the back. He should have been right at the back. But they sat him at the front. What can you say? Andrew has to have something on some of the other royals. Or it's just a matter of the fact that because he's one of them, they have to protect him. They have to make it look like he's somewhat been thrown to the fire, but there's always cool water coming straight after to cool him off. And save him from being burnt by the flames entirely. Because accountability where? Nowhere to be seen. Also, while all this is going on, so you've got a whole presidential state visit going on, and yet the Daily Fail are looking for Harry and Meghan. Am I surprised at this point after doing this podcast for coming to 4 years? No. Do I still think it's absolutely pathetic? Yes. Do I think it's hilarious? Yes. Do they need to stop? Yes. Will they stop? No. They will continue to embarrass themselves. Because how does a whole US president go to the UK, but you've got Daily Fail reporters sneaking around trying to find Harry, Meghan, and Montecito? Do you know what they wanted? They wanted a picture of Harry and Meghan so they could have an article, Harry and Meghan trying to upstage the state visit. That's what they wanted. That's why they were sneaking around Montecito. Thank you, Palaver Girl. Appreciate you so much. Oh dear. Okay, so let's have a read of this article from Celebrity. Give me one sec, folks. Computer's playing up. So yesterday we talked about the Duchess of Sussex's quiet September. Meghan and her As Ever team have only posted a few Instagram pics this month, and there have been no big announcements. Well, I wouldn't expect any because we just had a drop as well as the second season, and then we'll be going into the Christmas special soon. So quiet September, as expected, to be honest. Meghan was very quiet while Prince Harry was in the UK and Ukraine, but I expected her to post about all of the lovely Ukrainian gifts Harry brought back. She hasn't. I mean, why would you expect her to post about them? I did think it was interesting timing when on Wednesday, As Ever posted a new pic of Meghan. That was in the heat of the Trump state visit. I don't think that Meghan has to do anything thinking about what's going on with the other royals, thinking about what's going on in the UK. I don't think she does. Well, it looks like the Daily Fail also hoped that the Sussexes would do or say something this week. They weren't content with simply covering the left behinds as they entertained an orange fascist. No, the Mail sent reporters to Montecito specifically to stalk the Sussexes. You know what this also tells me? It tells me that they likely haven't papped the Sussexes in a while. Because what they would have done is used old pictures and been like, see, Harry and Meghan out. Harry and Meghan trying to upstage the state royal visit. Prince Harry and Meghan were laying low in Montecito as the rest of his family lived the highest of high life on Wednesday state banquet for visiting President Donald Trump. Yeah, when I tell you, the Daily Mail is delusional. Would I rather be being embarrassed with this state visit or in Montecito and having the time of my life in the sunshine? Clearly, it would better to be in Montecito. And also not have members of the public dragging me for such a ridiculous display of wealth. According to royal commentator Richard Fitzwilliams, that's because the pair were wary of stealing the spotlight from President Trump, who has the power to make life difficult for them. Listen, they're not worried about him. Meghan didn't even respond to a question about him in an interview. You think she's thinking about them while they're in their Montecito home? You think she's thinking about Trump and his lackeys? No. I won't lie, I've been surprised by Meghan's silence this month too. I wouldn't mind if she dropped some big announcements, but I understand why she didn't, just as I understand why Harry and Meghan mostly ignored the orange mess in the UK. Now I find it absolutely insane that the Daily Fail is openly admitting that they sent reporters to Montecito to stalk all of Harry and Meghan's favourite spots. It has to be asked for the millionth time. If the left behinds really are soaking up all of that global attention, why is the British media still obsessively stalking the Sussexes' every move? Did the Mail's editors take one look at Kate's ridiculous doll wig and order their US-based reporters to drive to Montecito? Yeah. That's exactly what it seems like happened. Because they got a nice half a day of clicks and views because of a new hairstyle and wig. And they looked at the final report and they said, nope, still not making as much money as Harry and Meghan would make us. Send a report over to Montecito ASAP. We have to pay our mortgages. And it's clear that the leftovers aren't helping them pay their mortgages. Susie, you said, and I think Princess Anne purposely didn't fancy up because she can't stand the orange felon and child. Yeah. I actually just think that Princess Anne wasn't invited. Actually, no, I think Princess Anne was there. What am I talking about? I think she was there. Was she not? If she was probably just in the background, which is why you can't see her. Let me have a look. I'm pretty sure I saw Princess Anne. I don't think I saw Sophie. Yeah, she was there. She was there wearing a tiara with her husband. No, she was there. She wasn't trying to avoid. I don't know why people sometimes put Princess Anne on such a pedestal, like, you know, she would be above but buddying up to Trump. Or if you've seen Princess Anne in interviews, she can be very, very snotty. Very. All right. DB said Kate's outfit reminds me of a Pige Noir nightgown set, often seen in old American movies from the 40s and 50s, and housewives wore them too. Okay, I'm gonna have to Google what that is. Okay, Legs, you said Kensington Palace has been in PR overtime since Harry has been to the UK. Yeah. Well, you can do all of the PR overtime you want. You can't buy authenticity. And bots don't show up in real life. Okay. Gwendolyn, you said Harry and Meghan are too smart for the idiots. Lady, you said, I believe Meghan is working on her inventory for the holiday. She will need 10 times the product to meet demand. Exactly. Especially during the holiday season. That's all I really think it is. I think people forget that Harry and Meghan are actually running businesses. They're running businesses. They're working for businesses. They're producing. Oh, and they've got 2 kids, 2 dogs, a bunch of chickens, a garden to look after, and friends, and a life to live. It's not that they've gone quiet. They're just getting on with things. Like, it's not that complex as I feel like celeb bitch is trying to make it. They're just out here living. Oh, yes, and Maggie, they could also be on vacation. They're just living. That's all it is. They're not quiet at all. Anne was at the banquet, but she wasn't at the funeral. Oh, wasn't she? Interesting. Oh, yeah, and Archie probably started school this year. Exactly. Okay. Yeah, and Harry was gone for a week, Gwendolyn. See, we're just out here like Harry and Meghan are living their lives. Also, there was this really funny incident during the state visit with Kate and Camilla. Now, some people are saying that Camilla shooed her out of the way. Other people are saying, well, the horses were coming. So she was telling her that the horses were coming. But I found it quite interesting. You'll see that Kate goes all the way to the other side of William and the orange after Camilla shoos her away, or at least it looks like she shoos her away. I don't understand why Camilla wouldn't just kind of stand to the side. If it was a case that it was because the horses were coming by, why wouldn't Camilla just make a bit of room next to her? I think that Kate, unfortunately, is going to find out that nobody in this royal household is loyal to anybody but themselves and the crown. And unfortunately, any ally that she would have had in Harry and Meghan is now gone. Kate's on her own. I don't know if she's realized it yet, but she's on her own now. Camilla wants power, even though she's not even in line to the throne. But I believe that she has the audacity to try and siphon a position like she is. William is going to be king, so it's going to be all about him. If she already comes second now anyway, more so when he's actually king and really pulls the strings. I think if Kate hasn't seen the nasty side of William yet, I think it is coming. There have been reports about his temper. Harry told us that, his brother assaulted him. Dear, oh dear. All right. I'm just checking all my slides to make sure that we've gone through everything. It was a wild few days. The memes were hilarious, but the more serious nature of all of this certainly isn't. I will be interested to see if going forward, because the backlash, at least from what I can see on social and conversations people are having, was quite fierce. I would be interested to see if next time for a state visit, they have something, this over the top. I'll be interested to see if they do that. Okay. Just wanted to see if anybody else had any comments. If not, I think we will wrap things up. Thank you as always, everyone. Thank you everyone who's donated. Much, much appreciated. All of that definitely helps keep the podcast running. And just a reminder, all the donation links are in the description box. And thank you also to everyone. Oh, I forgot to mention, thank you to everyone that came and followed me on TikTok. I think we are now at over 600. Let's have a look. What are we on? We're growing so quickly on TikTok. 651 followers after less than a week. Thank you. Appreciate y'all so much. And I have been reposting shorts and stuff on my YouTube, but if you like short form content, definitely check us out on TikTok. There is quite a big royal TikToker, somebody who the squad loves. Don't worry, it's not anyone who we don't like, but there's one who I know you will absolutely love, who's blown up on TikTok quite recently. And I did ask, would they be interested in coming on the podcast? And they said that they would be very interested in doing that. So I had them down as a maybe. I will try and get Tina. And I think that it would be nice to have them on once I hit 40,000 subscribers and we can really make like a party out of it. I will be so excited to have them on. So just so you know, some special guests are coming. Oh, I appreciate you too, Louise. Oh, thank you for saying you love the shorts. I love doing the shorts as well. And like I said, by the way, I am moving very soon, and I'll have the space to just be able to be more creative, because it's just like, won't get into it, just like awkward where I am, like, don't always have like the I don't have the creative space to be as creative as I want to be. That's going to change soon, don't worry. All right, I will give Kat Harlem the last word of the day. Good night, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Indeed, I will play the music. Let's dance our way out. Ciao, everyone.
We got everything we need right here. Wine and burning chemistry. You and me alone. You and me alone. Inside of our embassy. Everything we need's right here. Make me sing along. Sing along. I never thought I'd ever be stuck by you. I never thought I'd ever be stuck by you. Oh, watch me dancing in the colors, lightning, blowing up a thunder, wash it over me. We got everything we need, right? Watch me dancing in the colors, lightning, blowing up a thunder, wash it over me. Yeah, we got everything we need right here. Moonlight on your naked skin, summer's blind us to giving. Where you wanna go, where you wanna go. Stars align onto your face, pretty sweet, your sour taste. Make me sing along, sing along. I never thought I'd ever be stuck by you. I never thought I'd ever be stuck by you. Oh, watch me dancing in the colors, lightning, blowing up a thunder, wash it over me. We got everything we need, right? Watch me dancing in the colors, lightning, blowing up a thunder, wash it over me. Yeah, we got everything we need right here. Sharing all your deepest dreams, wonder what they really mean. Yeah, in the empty bottle lies all the answers. Write down all your memories, feel the things you wanna feel.